Hey, welcome back. I am going to show you what we are using for my fourth grader for our homeschooling. This year we are relaxed homeschoolers, so we pretty much homeschool year round. So we have been doing some of this, so some of it I can talk about why we like it so far. So we'll start with math because he is doing teaching textbooks. We in third grade he did mathematical reasoning 3, and he finished that up in about February, but he was still working on a lot of his other subjects, and so he is most of the way through. We kind of started near the middle of this anyway, but he is about to finish this up. It's kind of just review and then touching a few topics that I felt like he could use some more work on. I'm not sure what we're going to do for math. This is what he's currently kind of finishing up. He may go to Math 5. He does not like it on the computer. He likes to do the physical workbook. We don't write in it. He does the work on a boogie board. But he does not care for this on the computer. He doesn't feel like it, he retains it as well, and I agree that I do better with a hard copy. So I guess stay tuned. I will update as we decide once he finishes this what we're going to do next. Critical thinking. We started critical thinking last year, and because we hadn't done it before, I started him with grade 2. So this year he's just moving. This was kind of his favorite. He waited a long time after completing the grade 2 one to get the grade 3. So he does kind of what he wants. Sometimes he doesn't do the whole page. It's just fun games and thinking exercises. They kind of have a theme, so there's a lot of animals, and then I haven't really looked through, but it'll kind of keep like the same theme. So there's kind of like food for a while, and then things in the home, and a variety of activities, and he really enjoys it. So next, our science. If you checked out my curriculum for my second grader, we do science together. So Real Science Odyssey. Chemistry is what we're working on. We start our science in January, and then it takes us about a year. We do a lot of other science. So our formal science curriculum is Real Science Odyssey from Pandia Press. And this is a secular science, if you are looking for that. My kids love it. So it's all contained in this one book, so you get, tells you what materials, it tells you what to read aloud to the child, the procedure, and then they do the work right on the next page. You can buy additional student pages, which I do for my other child who uses this, but they really like it. The experiments are pretty easy. They are easy for me to implement, and my kids think it's really great. So this is, we did Earth and Space Science last year, and when we finished that, they made sure that we would be getting this same brand for the next level. So they love it. He has been working on Cursive. We used this last year as well. He's just kind of continuing through it. And so it starts, I got this off Amazon. I liked it because it has, it's dot to dot up here. And then they practice, so they do each letter, and then they start putting letters together and working on just putting multiple letters together. And then there are next levels of this where they start writing words and then sentences. So I just got that on Amazon for under $10, I think. Next up, we have several workbooks from Evan Moore that they really enjoy. We did Geography 3 last year, and they asked to continue. Both my sons enjoy this, so just continuing with this. This is what you say to them. It has the vocabulary over here, and then it's supposed to be questions they answer each day. But we just do it in one day. So we do geography 1 or 2 times a week, and they just answer every question for the whole week in a day. Like I said, he likes this. and asked to continue with it. So we've been happy with that. We picked up building spelling skills, and these are pretty fun. They have the word lists, but this gives you the list. They copy it. There's several exercises throughout the week, including dictation sentences that I read to him, and then they just do the test at the end of the week, and they've enjoyed it, which is good. Works for me. Another Evan Moore workbook, Word a Day, and this one is just one word for every day, 4 days a week, and then there's a review page. So it gives the word, what kind of word it is, the definition, uses it in a sentence, and then they get to what are examples of this word, asks them a question. Sometimes there's a little bit different, this graphic organizer that has them draw or write like examples of something that would be considered unruly, and then other ways to say it. So using other words to describe, so using similes. So they really like that. It's a simple one, and we are using it with both my sons, so they're really getting 2 words a day because we share with each other. For other language arts, we're using The Good and the Beautiful, and includes all these subjects. We do not use it for all these subjects. We don't use it for spelling. We do the geography, but I mentioned in my other video that this son did level 2 for a couple months, took only a couple months to complete, and has moved on to level 3. I compared, and it really seemed like the geography was pretty much exactly the same, and we just wanted something more than that. But like, look at those beautiful pictures. It is so beautiful. I'm very happy with our decision to switch to this. We don't use it for the spelling. We don't really use it for the phonics and reading. I did not get the books that come with it. He reads just fine. But it has been good for his grammar, and he asked to continue doing this, so we are sticking with it, and we are enjoying it. Yeah, so there's a quick peek at that, sentence diagramming and whatnot. All right, history and geography. We have been doing Story of the World. We do it when we think of it. We have not finished book 1 yet. When we do, we will move on to book 2. My kids like it. They say they want to continue with it. We just don't often really think of it and pick it up. But when we do, they enjoy it. So we're just reading through those kind of as a read aloud as we think of it. For my kids, I think I like history. They enjoy the history. But at this age, their younger ages, I really prefer to do more social studies rather than history. I feel like history is kind of a big topic and sort of maybe hard for them to understand. It's kind of abstract at this age, I think. The timelines, how much time ago it was. Okay, that. Anyway, you get my point. So instead, we have started using Moving Beyond the Page for social studies, and we use it mostly for our social studies, but once you get to the 7 to 9 age, you can buy the topics individually. So I'm showing the catalog so that you can kind of see better. So this is just the catalog for Moving Beyond the Page. I buy the units individually online, and then I print them out. So we started using this in February, and we have done several topics. And so we're working together with my 7 and my 9-year-old, and then we are on concept 4. We have a few more that we're going to complete with that, and then we'll move on. Most likely, we will continue with Moving Beyond the Page to 8 to 10. And so if you're not familiar with Moving Beyond the Page, they work in concepts. So there are 4 or 5 different units that all revolve around the concept of interdependence. So for instance, there are language arts and science units that have to do with like Native Americans and how they are dependent on the land. Then you read the story Little House in the Big Woods. You're reading Native American stories. You're learning about dirt and plants growing and earth science. And then the next unit is about force and power. So you're learning about magnetism and electricity, and read the book Ben and Me. And they're kind of like unit studies, but we pick and choose as we go. So mostly we're sticking with social studies, but we also have done a few language arts units. We're also going to do science units as they interest us. And like I said, I purchase a unit and then I print it out. And here's kind of a look at the economics. We learned about taxes and about different jobs that you could perform. And a lot of these, like, he didn't fill them out. We just talked about and looked up the information rather than having him write it all. He does not like to write. So we discuss it more. Talking about if you had so much money, what would you do with it? We learned about supply and demand. And so I feel like it's really well-rounded topics that I want my kids to kind of learn about at this age. And we've really been enjoying it. So that's what we are mostly doing for social studies. And then for reading, I do not assign reading that like books that they have to read. We find what they're interested in and then they read it. My son has read, like last year he read, I think, all of The Wings of Fire. This one is the latest. It just came out a couple weeks ago and he's finished that. And then he read all of the How to Train Your Dragon. So he's kind of looking for his next series. So he is kind of he's not, I wouldn't say reluctant reader. He is just kind of not as open to suggestions from me. So what are your kids reading? If your kids are in 4th grade, they like fantasy, they like dragons, I would love to hear what suggestions you have, because he is kind of at the end of the series. He's kind of reading some of his younger brother's books at this point till he finds something else. So I'd love to hear what other people might suggest. So thanks for checking out what we're doing this year. If you have any questions, let me know. And thanks for watching.